Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Earlier today, I recorded a video about intermittent fasting and how yesterday I got a little bit repulsed by the idea of eating, not because of eating disorder issues, but because of how much of my life it consumes up, right? I'd rather be writing computer games, making art, sleeping. I don't get enough sleep nowadays. I juggle way too many hats on my head these days. And other beautiful things in my life, including look for my future partner. I don't do enough of that, unfortunately. And it occurred to me there's one thing I can do to help visualize for some people who don't seem to get the picture of just how big a chore eating is. Now, this is a challenge that you can do for some amount of time. I would recommend at least 1 or 2 weeks. But for 1 or 2 weeks, or preferably for a month if you can pull it off, take a picture of everything you eat. And then at the end of that period, just review it. And so it'll give you a sense of just how much goes into it and how little you have to show for it at the end of the process, right? If anything, you have negative things to show for it, right? Whether it be health problems, weight gain, depending on what you're eating, right? Or just even if you eat healthy stuff, you still have very little to show for it, except that you spent a lot of time that you could have been using to write computer games or some other thing, right? Other things that you could actually keep at the end, right? Anyway, I thought I would point that out. And then the reason I got really repulsed yesterday was I was talking to a friend from another country. And don't get me wrong, she lives in a relatively clean country, maybe even more so than the United States. But cultural differences, right? When I go there and I have to look for food that is suitable, and I have dietary restrictions, and then to have to deal with language barriers over there, and then when I do finally eat it, it has to come out the other end, and sometimes going to an unfamiliar bathroom can be really terrifying for me. Don't get me wrong. She comes from a very well-off country. It's just cultural differences. Now, in their country, their bathrooms are called WCs. And when I first saw it, I'm a chemist, so I thought tungsten carbide. And when I went to the bathroom, I was really constipated, and it really did feel like I was pooping out tungsten carbide. So for the rest of the trip, in my head, I just thought of the bathroom as the tungsten carbide room. And that's the kind of problem I run into when I travel, just unfamiliar. And if I didn't have to eat and didn't have to poop, I wouldn't have to worry about that. Oh yeah, as you're doing this challenge, you might as well take a picture of your poop every time you go, right? If you're okay with that concept. And then just put it together after 2 weeks or however long, right? All the food that you ate and how little you have to show for it, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.